because they're easily exploited by social elites.
That's fair. I mean, but why not then just target education? Like, why not then?
We spend 5% of the entire GDP of the United States on education. It's the highest anywhere in the world, and we have some of the dumbest people on planet Earth. Our literacy rate is barely... You know what the literacy rate is.
Yeah, it's garbage.
It's trash. And we spend 5%, the biggest GDP on planet Earth. We spend 5% total of our GDP on education. And you think that education's going to solve the problem of the low information voter?
Well, if the issue is that people are stupid, help them be smarter.
There's a lot of that is a mixture.
So, yeah, but how can I say this? I understand where she's coming from, saying like, help them be smarter. Like, give free education. It doesn't work like that, guys. I mean, you see some of these colleges, some of these schools, and we spend so much money in education, guys. It's not even a joke. By state, we spend more money. Each state spend more money than 5 or 6 Latin American countries together. Per state, guys. Our problem comes down from the nuclear family all the way to the top. It's not from the top bottom. It's from the family all the way to the top. It does. It's just the system that we have currently has allowed us, right, for kids just to simply just get manipulated to the point of their own demise. To the point of their own demise. Culturally, we're failing quick. And we have to check this. We have to check things up. We have to check these things out because we cannot continue like this. Otherwise, I don't know where we're going to end up.
Of genes and environment and nourishment and all sorts of different things. It's like you can't. This whole progressive idea.
If it's environment and nourishment, then why not attack
this whole
things?
Stupid progressive idea of like you can educate people into whatever it is that it's like. No, you really can't. Like there's a lot.
Your question is, for Steve is saying, will I get to decide who is intelligent or ignorant? Well, you can decide that simply by doing some tests, right? You can do some tests for like this. Okay, how many? Very simple. You don't have to go all the way out. Simply ask how many states, how many presidents do we have so far? What year? What's the Civil War? Very simple question. Very similar to, I would say similar to those that are applying for American citizenship, U.S. citizenship. Very simply, recognize how many states do we have. Recognize where's the capital, territories. Some country, like you have to push people to really think about who we are in the geographical sphere, guys. Because if you watch Fresh and Fit in a lot of these street interviews, Americans fail. They fail, guys, to even name their states of their own country. I'm telling you, guys, I used to work in the financial industry. It was very common for people, female in particular, fail to understand where were they born, guys.
A lot of people who are just going to be fucking janitors, okay? There's a lot of, okay? There's a lot of people who are just going to be fucking janitors.
Make it simple.
And who are just going to be fucking toilet bowl cleaners and who are just going to be fucking bartenders and are really not meant to build fucking rocket ships, okay?
I know, but they're still subject to laws. So they still get a say.
Just being
and it's frustrating, but it's just a fact. Yeah, if I want free will and they want, and you want free will and we deserve the right to vote, then they do too.
No, you're not eliminating free will by this. You're protecting the rest of society from low information voters destroying their lives.
Yeah,
do you really think?
Let me ask you this. Let
me ask you this. If you were to, but you're not really doing that. What you're doing,
a vote is an exercise in free will.
Let me ask you this. If you had to choose, right, for your family,
sure,
and you knew that you could move them to a place where there was a bunch of people who were highly informed on political processes in the local community, or you can move them to a place where people didn't give a shit, right? Which place would you prefer them to be?
I would prefer them to be in the higher.
Of course, right? At the place where the people are the most informed.
Speaking of which, my mother's calling me. Here, I'm going to screen her. Sorry, Mom. Love you.
Now, if you were able to, if these people were able to cast votes...
You see right there, this is... And in the last 2 podcasts, they did this. The phone played a very important role in these 2 debates. Interrupted the flow of the podcast and how Andrew was debating the ladies. I don't know how they're going to fix this in the future. However, I personally believe that the phones need to be outside. You need to study your facts. And when you come here to the debate, we're not pulling facts here from the phone number because of this. So it's like a little blanket, right? The phone is like a blanket for some of these people. We're not doing that, man. I don't know if Brian is going to accept it in the future, but in my opinion, it did disturb the flow of the podcast.
Nullify all of the votes of you high information voters, right? Wouldn't it actually be better for them and for you to disenfranchise their voting so that you guys could actually vote on political and policy issues that made sense?
Well, I don't think that stupid people are nullifying all of the votes of smart people.
Really? Think about what you just said. Can you think about what you just... Do you think there's more stupid people or smart people?
In this country, yeah, it's probably more.
Okay, so you really don't think stupid people are nullifying the votes of smart people?
On a certain level, yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they still deserve free will. I can't.
They still have free will.
They don't, because they're still subject to the laws of the country.
Voting is a privilege. If you go to Australia and you commit a crime, can you go to jail in Australia?
Yeah.
But you can't vote in Australia, right?
Sure.
So do you see how that makes no sense? Like what you're saying makes no sense.
If you travel to another country and endanger people, like that's a threat. You're
not even endangering people. If you're just like drunk in public, you can be arrested.
That is a threat to public safety. No. Public intoxication is a threat to public safety.
That doesn't mean you're going to actually do anything wrong, right?
But you could.
Yeah.
Drunken people are habitually more violent, statistically more violent.
Or you could break some public ordinance, right? You could break some public ordinance you didn't know about. Like you're on a beach, right? Yeah. And you're in your shorts, and it was supposed to be T-shirts and shorts. You know, something like this.
Yeah, but breaking public ordinances doesn't lead to jail time.
It does if you don't pay the fine.
Well, then you should pay the fucking fine.
Well, see what I mean, though? So you are subject to those laws,
yes.
And you are subject to imprisonment based on those laws. And if that's the case, you can't vote in those countries.
Okay, but you're not a citizen of that country. You're still a citizen of this country. If you were a citizen of this country and you live here and you are subject to the laws of this country for your entire life, from birth to death, you should have
Why do you want dumb people to disenfranchise your well-informed vote? That makes
good point, Johnny. Men are the forced feminists. Men are the forced feminists. Can't see this. Men gave them a vote and could take it back. That's the problem. The problem is, I don't know why men decided to do this, but somehow we have decided that we are giving females the illusion that these things exist out of nowhere because we're enforcing them. But it's like giving them the illusion that they just exist. They just exist. And that's a problem because in reality, guys, right? Men can take, they can modify some of these positions, guys. And I've seen it in some of the debates with, male feminists. When you listen to them, that's when you realize, oh, no wonder this ideology has been just moving forward for years. It's because of these people. That's what it is. It's because these people are the one really defending the ideology.
No sense. Not only that, you say that you're actually emboldening them with their free will, right? It's like, that's so silly because ultimately, these people who are politically low information, they're so low information, you're allowing them to get taken advantage of.
Of course, I don't want dumb people to disenfranchise my vote, but I don't think that the solution to that is a one marriage voting system or you have to do public service for 5 years.
Give me an alternative.
But can't dumb people do that too? Like, couldn't a dumb person just do some fucking community service for 5 years and then get paid? I mean, like, there are dumb people in the army.
Listen. I agree with you that there can be some stupid people who get through the system, but they're not going to be probably low information. Mm-hmm. You're not going to go through 5 years of civil service like that for the purpose of being able to vote and be low information, or you wouldn't do it. You have an interest. That's what the whole point is.
Well, if your housing and your food is paid for, I think there are a lot of people who'd be interested in that. The army. I mean, that's like exactly a version
army.
Of
You have
service.
to take.
You're saying free will is given by whom? That's the argument. Free will is given by whom? That's the argument right there. The other argument is, and the other question is, do we really have free will? And I heard a lot of people saying this, that humans don't have free will. But then there's another school of thought saying that we do have free will. But I don't know about that. I really don't know where to side on that back and forward.
in the Army, you have to take an ASVAB test, and you have to score X amount of a score in order to even be placed in those things.
Big dog.
I agree.
My boyfriend's a vet. He talks about some dumb motherfucker.
EOT 696. I agree with you. I think that he said. I think there ought to be a basic civic test to qualify to vote. Yeah, that's what I said. Very basic. You need to know how the government works, the branches of government. You need to know at least how many states do we have in the nation, and how many presidents do we have so far, and at least when we declare independence from Great Britain, regardless of your sex. At least that's a good start. Yeah, I agree. Or at least that's a good start, because at the end, you said regardless of sex, but at the end, because females tend not to be too interested in these topics, it's gonna be probably like a 70-30 favor of men. That's my opinion.
Sure, there's dumb people in the Army.
But so they would.
But to qualify for certain jobs, you can't be. And for civil service or something like this, you can do intelligence tests or things like that. Okay, so
you're basically saying there should be an IQ test, and only those who would like to be civil servants who pass that IQ test.
Well, I think you should probably implement an IQ test for the military too, which they do.
Yep.
Yeah, but people suck.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
and that's where how the three branches check and balance each other will be most important to me. Yeah, I will just. You know what's crazy? That's like an IQ test kind of a question, because if you can just simply provide some references to any law, right, or any decision through the Supreme Court versus any state or whatever, right? That would be a good question. Just provide me when the three branches are provide me a good example of how the three branches of government provide a check and balance. That would be a great question. And then you can sort of like exploit your knowledge of the United States or how our Constitution works.
But they do. Unless it's in wartime and they're like, okay, well, you just need a body in here, and then they'll grab anybody off the street. But yeah.
Can we ask about right now? I want to confirm that.
Of course.
Aiden.
This is again.
Do you do IQ
again unnecessary? Unnecessary playbook right here. Unnecessary. She's just trying to take control of the conversation. That's it.
Military.
Yeah, I'm the guy in the Army who are like.
Wait, you want boyfriend reveal?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Wait. Oh, go. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just go around that way.
Army. No, I'm playing.
Yeah, there are people who are there who are dumb. That's true, but they.
Here, baby, come here first.
If you can, just kind of like.
I've heard of that. It's called a Cat 5 waiver, right? They give them a Cat 5 waiver.
I'm talking about Category 5 waivers. I'm talking about.
Can you just?
Baby, come here.
Shalom.
Hey, thank you so much, man. Hey, we try our best to keep it nice and clean, man. Thank you.
In terms of like people in the Army and IQ tests, like I've taken the ASVAB, it is not a very difficult test, and a lot of people get their ASVABs taken for them. I knew guys in the Army who were like medically diagnosable with mental deficiencies and were still in the Army doing jobs that in theory required a certain level of mental faculty.
Sure. Yeah, the system can get gamed, but those are exceptions, not the rule.
I wouldn't really go that far, to be honest with you. And then
this dude, bro. This dude, man. This dude really trying to. Oh, man, I don't know how to. I really don't know. I really don't know how to go here. I understand people tend to play the system, but the fact they said the majority, come on, man. This is not how things work. I think he's trying here to please her, I guess. I don't know, man. It doesn't sound like it's coming from his balls, you know. And that's my opinion.
You don't think the majority of people are stupid or in the Army are stupid, do you?
I think there are a great number of people who join the Army because they want a place to live and food, which is the system you just described, and that's pretty much independent of intelligence.
They seem to be joining the Army based around patriotism, the ability to get paid, the ability to do things like that. What's that?
When were you in the Army?
I was in the Army for a very limited amount of time, years and years ago.
How long was that very limited amount of time?
It has nothing to do with conversation.
It wasn't very long, about a year.
About a year. So what happened?
Well, it doesn't matter what happened.
Oh, but we're talking about service, man.
What about it?
So you want to disenfranchise people based on military service? I actually know why most people join the Army.
What are you talking about? How would I disenfranchise them based on military service?
No,
it would be the opposite.
If you're requiring people to serve.
No, it wouldn't require them to serve in the Army. Literally didn't say that.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally didn't say that.
Hey, yo, bro, dude, I'm sorry. The village cry, this is not, I don't know what you're trying to do here, man, but I don't think this is a space for this, bro. I guess she wanted to play, in favor of authority, I guess, and because he was a veteran, I guess, he has the most say of it. Like, that's not. I don't know, man. Oh, let's see, Wacko.
Thank you. Okay. Readjust this. So now we've established.